Good morning, good morning, good morning, folks. Sorry I don't look like the doll this morning, but welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC, but before we do, the usual disclaimers. Alright, so kind of my thought the last 2 days. Let me know what you think. We all know I rant on here about things I come across during the week before I get into the JRC videos. So I've been thinking, instead of venting to you all and spending about a solid, usually in general, from what I've been noticing from the videos, about 10 minutes or so, give or take, depending on how ranty I'm feeling that day. Instead, I should start doing a separate segment about once a week that just kind of goes over all the crap that I notice in the news and otherwise, and just kind of have it be its own show. That way, I'm not taking up time to go over all the multiple receipts we have on the JRC on these videos, and I can just have that separate segment. It just kind of rant about things in general. Maybe also do a separate segment that is still disability rights, but it goes over some of the other things we're fighting against, the different laws we're coming against, what have you. That way we can keep the JRC about the JRC, keep you guys informed, because this is by far not the only avenue we've been fighting on, and also be able to rant about the minutia, the crap, like the whole Scientology Danny Masterson thing without taking time from doing this. So let me all know what you think about that. Alright? In the comments if you don't mind. My 5 people who watch me on a semi-regular. Alright, folks, in the description box, you're going to find a link to the article that Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read. It's written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics, wherein they interviewed and surveyed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so-called behavior modification program. Matter of fact, the JRC doesn't want you to read this article so much, they've threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. Well, folks, NeuroClastic has refused, so you know that drill. Please read the article and share it on all your social media. Also included in there is NeuroClastic's public statement regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding in case the JRC actually sees through with their threat. Also included is the Ozark's first article in regards to Agape Boarding School, also known as Stone for Help Boarding School, a so-called Christian-themed boarding school based out of Stockton, Missouri that takes in so-called trouble meal teens that has impending over 21 civil lawsuits, claims, and allegations leveled against it, all which have been substantiated by the Missouri Department of Social Services, and they include the following: sodomy, rape, sexual assault, child abuse, psychological and emotional abuse, child trafficking, starvation, and that's just for starters. You have one former staff member arrested by the FBI, another a doctor, still on the premises with full access to the boys up on multiple, again, substantiated claims of sodomy, rape, and sexual assault of the boys there. You got an attorney general too busy chasing after and badly photoshopping drag queens and trying and failing to defund public libraries to actually do his job, and you got a governor off his nuts, so please send help. Read that article, share it on all your social media. We got the other pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign as well, including Autistic Hoya's massive archive on the subject, Jennifer Masumba's behavioral sheet of shockable offenses, a clip out of the 7-hour ordeal undergone by Andre McCollins back in 2002, the templates, and the ever-present, very self-explanatory, change.org shut the Judge Rotenberg Center down petition. When we discuss the JRC, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused, If you got young children present, folks, please go ahead and use your headphones, alright? This channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion and speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously parental supervision is very much advised, alright? Okay, so where we left off last time, let's get to it here, shall we? Although, or perhaps because, this controversy has been going on for a number of decades in a certain advocacy and professional communities, there is limited or at best inconsistent government oversight of these practices. Let me put that in layman's terms for you. Circa 2012, the video of what happened to Andre McCollins went viral, folks. It was first aired in a local news station, actually near Canton, Massachusetts. And after that, it went everywhere. Everywhere. Okay? Which means that the government, after it went national and international, could no longer be seen to be sitting on their hands while kids were very visibly, as in video footage, being horrifically abused. So they had to at least pretend to act and care. Now, the story disappeared quickly. This is only my opinion, mind you, but as most things that have to do with disability and abuse, or teenagers and abuse, tends to disappear quickly. Despite of our best efforts, I might add. Usually one of two reasons, if not a little bit of both. The general public does not tend to handle well when something that level of horrific is going on. They will feel outrage. They will feel sickened. But then they will turn a notch in their brain and just kind of put it off to the side because they can't handle the barbarity. So as we all do with unpleasant things that we feel we can't deal with, it gets pushed to the side and nothing gets done. The other reason is media is fickle, folks. The abuse continued long after 2012. There were more court cases after that time. As clearly we can see if we look at Autistic Hoya's massive archive. But the fact of the matter is, folks, the media is not reporting on it because, quite frankly, the media does not give a shit about disabled people. Can we put it bluntly? And if you don't believe me, look at the treatment of disabled folks, particularly during 2020. Those who have immune problems, let's put it that way. Those who were elderly, or even, yes, in some cases, those of us who are neurodivergent, basically, the abled and getting those masks were prioritized over us. There was numerous reports about this from all over the globe. I can speak to this with a certain level of authority, though I want to state again this is an opinion, because remember who my mom is, folks. Okay? Works in an ER. They don't like us. Maybe because we are a living reminder of their own human frailty. Whatever and regardless of what the reasons are. Point blank, the only time the disabled lives seems to matter is when it is pertinent to a particular politician to march us out there for the cameras to see in support of their run for office. Now remember, folks, you're talking to an individual who has wheeled and dealt with these folks. Okay? There is a reason why my mask that I have specifically named the doll was created. Because if you think they're going to respond to me while I'm just sitting here like this with you all, with no mask, no, I had to, as I call it, play the doll and play the game. What they weren't anticipating was that I actually have a talent for playing the game. Let's put it bluntly there. Difference is the way I played the game was by utilizing and using truth, facts, and data as a weapon. In particular, the ballot box and their wallets. Okay? The only time things really ever seemed to get done was when it was the most pertinent for them to do so, because they would face very real repercussions from our community if they did not do something to help protect us, help us make living wages, help keep us out of places like the antiquated, freaking isolated workshops. See where I'm going with this, right? When people follow an agenda, they want something they feel like they can sell. This is why, instead of people like Andre McCollins and Jennifer Masumpa getting their flowers like they should as real survivors, you have the media willing to literally die on the hill that is AH. Even if the world knows she's a liar, they feel like they can sell her. See where I'm going with this here? The government only acts when they are left with no choice. The media only backs us when they feel that their backs are against the wall. Okay? It's just point blank how it is. Alright? Let's move forward here, shall we? This is only beginning to change in light of a number of highly publicized incidents resulting in investigations, court cases, and public scrutiny. One of the major things, too, that has really been pushing disability rights into the forefront is that our numbers have grown. Remember what I said about that ballot box, okay? Because it's important. The neurodiversity rights movement has gone from literally the handful of us who were there in the beginning and started the whole thing to millions all around the globe. And we're related to folks. I'm related to my multi-million-dollar uncle. You hear about celebrities who have kids who are autistic or otherwise neurodivergent. We came from being a small vocal minority to having some real clout. This is how and why you see things like when music went out from Sia, the backlash that happened in regards to it. Why did we even have that kind of sway? Because we have the numbers. We have the screenshots. Because all of us have learned young that if we did not prop up with receipts, nobody was going to take us seriously. Okay? That public scrutiny got larger because our group got larger. Larger group, more other people who were related to, acquainted with, are friends with, and have alliances with. Okay? It's all a political game. I guess it's sick. But many of us have decided we'll do whatever it takes. We'll do whatever we have to do. You know what I mean? By and large, however, the use of Aversives is largely unmonitored, especially in the private sphere. Furthermore, even in instances where the state becomes aware of serious injury or death of a child resulting from the use of, or misuse of Aversives, these harms are frequently under-prosecuted. Think back about what I told you about 2020 and allow me to dissuade you to think that that's a rare occasion. Because it isn't. The only difference between that and what happens every single day was that it was able to get caught on camera at a time when all updates in the world were sitting at home. One of those things where it's in front of your face and you can't deny that you're seeing it. Okay? Frequently, the state does not even take action to strip a program of its license to operate or individual wrongdoers of their professional licenses in these instances. Let me tell you how it works, folks. The way it should work and the way it actually does work. So how it should work is when you are caught doing horrific, barbaric shit to students. You know what I mean? The individuals involved should have every single license and certification ripped from them, and they should go on a list where they are disallowed to ever work in that field ever again. Ever again. In reality, what these institutions that they call schools actually do is they will scapegoat one, not all of the staff that was involved with a particular incident, but one staff member. That staff member will be fired. The institution, or as they say, school, or group home, or program, however the case may be, will then come forward to the media and anyone who will listen and say the person that was responsible, person, not persons, has been either reprimanded, which is a slap on the wrist, suspended for a few days, paid suspension no less, or that that person has been fired. Then everyone goes home willfully stupid. And that program, school, group home, however the case may be, then goes back to business as usual. This is reality. When I say I'm a nihilist for a lot of reasons. And when I talk about places that were finally corrected and overhauled, it's because, folks, I'm a dog with a bone. I'm relatively easy on the eyes. I'm very well spoken. And when I choose to play the doll, I play it so well that nobody really knows the difference. Okay? It is dogged determination. It's dogged stubbornness. It's dogged to refuse to back down or let it go until something is done. You ever read the Bible about the widow that kept annoying the corrupt judge and eventually he gave her what she wanted because she wouldn't shut up. Hi. I took that as a personal life lesson. Okay? That's me. I'm doing it right now while we speak, in my own way, with our current Missouri legislator. But anyways, let's finish it up, shall we? However, the increasing amounts of interest shown in the subject by lawyers, lawmakers, the federal government, and the international community in recent years may lead to an increased vigilance and steeper penalties for violations of existing law, in addition to the establishment of new laws. Matter of fact, our work, which began with the JRC, and we started reaching out. We reached out to the UN before we became a power to be reckoned with. We reached out to federal. We went above the state of Massachusetts' head because that was the position that they forced us into. Okay? That's what I mean by that doggedness. That dog with a bone, remember? Refusing to let it go. This is why you literally see me post one video every single day. And will continue to do so until this place is a footnote in history. And I don't get to do it on this either, folks. There's a lot of issues. I'll sleep when I'm dead. What you're seeing here, the very slow turning, not nearly fast enough to our liking, that is our work. Many of us, it's been our life's work. The real work that means something to us. Majority of the time, the real world does not care. Unless you give them a reason to. That is the sick, greedy, sociopathic society we all actually live in. Majority of the folks won't actually really care who's political or attached to an influential family in any way, shape, or form until that affects them. Whether it's a family member who becomes disabled or they themselves through happenstance. Or it's because people like me who are willing to get our hands dirty, explain to them the facts of just how many of us there are, how many family members we have that we can sway one way or the other. Yes, I've used that. I've used it shamelessly. I continue to use it, and I'm not ashamed, because if that's what I have to do to get these kids safe, then I'm going to do it with a smile. And I will play the doll, and I will talk and do whatever has to be done, because that's how it has to be done, folks. We don't have the luxury that a lot of minority groups do. We're not sexy, if you get what I'm saying. I happen to think I'm pretty hot when I decide to make myself up and get cleaned off and not essentially look like a bum who just brushed her hair and that's it. You get my point. There's a reason why the JRC is not being broadcast on every news station right now. There is a reason why we've literally only started getting noticed as our numbers began to get larger and we began to have more influence. It's because the whole of society doesn't look at us as real humans. Or if they do, we're kind of looked at as subhuman. Second, third class citizens. They feel us as though we are a drain on society. Individuals that The rest of the world would be better off if we'd just be killed off. This is the sick, sad reality. I don't shy away from it because it's ugly. I'm not going to paint you a picture of rainbows and unicorns because that's not the real world we live in. And we have to wheel and deal with these people on their level because they don't understand anything else and they won't act with anything else. This is why I tell you, if you think your politicians have what's good for society deep down in their hearts, you're lying to yourself. We're going to go ahead and close on that, folks. But I want to mention that why do I even bring up all the politics and go on this particular ramble today? I want you to know, A, what we're up against. These are some of the most corrupt, greedy, dirty, downright criminal individuals that you literally ever come across. Okay? The reason why places like the JRC do not get the scrutiny or the regulation that they deserve is because people willing to be dirty and society's overwhelming need to turn a blind eye towards what's being done to those that they view, even unconsciously, as second-class citizens, and that's when they're being kind. Now we're going to close it out. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time. As always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye, everyone.